Hey viewers, this is SkyFi Audio coming at you from Glen Rock, New Jersey. Today we've got a custom built turntable, a Thorens TD-124 that we just completed at the shop. We love the 124 and it's our go-to drive system along with the Garage 301s and 401s. In this video I'm going to go over this particular build, tell you some of the highlights and our thinking behind it, and also talk a bit about the 124 just in case you're not familiar with it. So for this build, we sort of scoured around the shop for some things that kind of went well together. The 124 aesthetically goes really well with this particular plinth. This is a solid stone plinth made out of slate. It's CNC cut with incredible precision to accommodate the 124. It's an oversized plinth, pretty sizable. It's about 2 inches in thickness, weighs a ton, and fairly deep as well. I think we're pushing about 20 inches deep by about 22 inches wide. It's sizable for two things. We wanted to get the mass fairly high to help with vibration and dampening, and we also wanted to be able to accommodate a second tonearm in case somebody wants to do so. So you'll see that there is a cutout here in the back of the turntable for a second tonearm, all ready to go. This could take a secondary 12-inch tonearm pretty well, maybe for a mono cartridge or a moving magnet instead of a moving coil to have a nice variety. All right, going through the features, the tonearm, as you can see, it's pretty spectacular looking and unusual. This is a woody tonearm, great company, interesting design. As you can see, the entire shaft is made out of a solid wood, and then all the parts themselves are machined out of either they're mostly machined out of brass with a really interesting machine turned finish on them. So we thought it kind of looks spectacular with both the stone and the cream color of the Thorens 124. So here it is. We went a little further, and when we drilled and tapped the actual plinth itself to accommodate these adjustable spikes. They're sitting right now on little cups to protect the furniture, but depending on your arrangement, they could go directly on there. And as you can see, they're threaded to allow for really easy leveling of the plinth. We then fitted the woody tonearm with a Sumiko moving coil cartridge. This is one of our favorite cartridges. We sell quite a few of them. It's the Sumiko Starling in low output moving coil configuration. Great, very musical cartridge. The only thing about it is that it is fairly delicate. As you can see, the stylus protrudes from the front. So if you're a little clumsy, this might not be the greatest fit for you. But sonically, it's a great cartridge. We then went a step further and fitted the turntable with its external power supply to kind of modernize the drive a bit. This external power supply takes the place of these particular controls right here. So your speed selection 3345 is done here with a click of a switch. And then the fine adjustment is done here with this really interesting vernier potentiometers, which gave you great fine adjustment for the speed. As you can see, they've got graduations on them, and they're geared so that as you move past the first digit, the second digit above it advances. So really neat way to control the speed. And we then went and, well, it just messed up the entire speed range, but here you go. We went and removed the strobe light that is built into the 124 and replaced it with a digital readout. It's an OLED digital readout. It goes 4 digits to the right, which is probably more than you'd ever want, but I suggest to the people that end up with this turntable to ignore the last 2 digits and maybe just zoom in on the 2 decimal points. So we've already messed around with the speed, so it's not reading properly, but if I took a few minutes, I could get it right back to the 33.33 for very precise tracking. Then finally, we fitted a Stillpoints, very heavy LPI record weight. It's a really interesting design. It's got these floating bits in the bottom, about 5 of them, and it's a great fit, both aesthetically and weight. So those are that's essentially it for the component selection. There are some internal bits as well. We did put a Italian-made idle wheel in here, made out of machined aluminum, and we service the 124 as we always do. You know, bushings, bearings, lubrication, cleaning of all critical components, replacing anything that's been worn out, and we'll go as far as even re-anodizing any of the parts that are showing any sort of wear or corrosion. So this particular 124 is finished in a original factory beige color, and it's a great look. It sort of goes together well with the rest of with the turntable, the arm, and the arm board with all the brass accents. We think looks pretty well together. The Woody is a 12-inch model. I don't know if I mentioned that. And in order to fit a 12-inch model in a 124, what we do is we abandon the typical mount, which is this arm board. If you had a 9-inch Tonearm, the cartridge would have been mounted right about here. Since we went to a 12-inch, it needs to be further away from the drive. So the Tonearm ends up being mounted on the actual plinth rather than on the drive. And that creates some performance improvements as well. This Tonearm is also finished with a pretty high quality captive RCA cords and grounding plug. Let me give you a close up of the arm so you can see how beautiful it is. All right, so now a little bit about the 124, just in case you're not familiar with it. The 124 is one of our go-to turntables, along with the Garrard 301 and 401. These are all considered idle drive turntables. One is made in Switzerland, the other one's made in England. A very similar design and execution. The major difference structurally is that the 124 has provisions to attach a Tonearm directly to the drive, while the 301 does not. The 301 always relied on the arm being mounted on the plinth. Other than that, they're fairly similar in design, quality, and performance. A couple of neat features on the 124 that you won't find in the Garrards. It's got a built-in bubble level, and then these really easy adjustable knurled height adjustments, so you can level the turntable. So you would essentially manipulate these 4 adjusters that are spread throughout the turntable. There's 2 in the back and 2 in the front to get the bubble level to show the true center. Secondary, it's got a sort of platter lift that allows you to start and stop the turntable almost immediately. They accomplish this very ingeniously. They essentially have a platter and a platter and a subplatter. So there's an aluminum sort of subplatter that's sitting on top of the heavy platter, which has the ability to kind of spin independently of the main platter. So if I remove this weight and I activate this latch here, it essentially lifts the aluminum subplatter off of the main platter. And if you were to inspect really closely, it's actually still spinning. If I hold here, you can see that the subplatter is actually still spinning. So that when I release this, it immediately picks up to 33.3. This would have been great for, studios, DJs, and the trades that require instant on for a turntable. It also takes a little bit of a wear and tear out of the mechanisms for starting and stopping and the motor itself by decoupling the platter from the subplatter. Very ingenious. I've never seen another turntable that has that, but I'm sure there's some imitations out there. So here we go, the Thorens 124 with a custom Slate plinth. This is a one-off build. We don't have any plans of building any additional turntables like this. We simply don't have the parts to do so. So this is essentially a limited edition piece for us. And it's also fitted with a custom SkyFi audio cork mat, which we love with the 124. So here you have it, the 124. Thanks for watching. If you like our videos on our channel, please subscribe and provide any comments or feedback. I know there's tons of experts out there with 124, so if you want to chime in and make any corrections or add any additional information to our video, we'd love to hear from you. Visit us at skyfiaudio.com this is our shop here. I'll give you kind of like a quick peek. We've got an amazing selection of vintage equipment. A lot of Macintosh, Luxman tube amplifiers of all sizes and shapes. And this is the part where we build things and troubleshoot and test. So that's about it. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Thank you.